What's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy, back again with another reaction. We got a recommended video from my guy, Breeze. We got Zdeno Chara feature on 60-Minute Sports. Showtime. Y'all know, I think Zdeno is 6'9". In the thumbnail, it was him playing basketball. So we about to see how he move on the court, man. But before we get into this, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We 3 subs away from 840 subscribers, man. Let's get it.
Tallest man ever to play in the National Hockey League. Known to teammates and fans simply as Z, he's been captain of the Boston Bruins, one of the NHL's most storied teams, for nearly a decade. If you don't follow hockey, you may not have heard of Z, but inside the game, he's revered by fellow players and fans in Boston and feared by everyone else. The Hockey News recently put him on its cover as the scariest man in hockey, citing the blazing speed of his slap shot, the brutal hits he puts on opponents, and his sheer size on the ice. With his skates on, he's 7 feet tall. He weighs 260 pounds. He's 37 years old and plays more minutes per game than much younger teammates.
37? This was, Jesus Christ, so he's in his 40s.
It's his job to shut down the opposing team's best player in every
Boom!
game. And make sure he's very sore when it's over.
Damn.
He doesn't hesitate to fight when he has to, though by now, most players know better than to provoke him.
Shoulder check.
He's most famous for dishing out big hits on defense.
Boom!
But he's a very skilled skater as well.
Oh, he did the little spin-a-rooney.
And the big man scores. 6'9", and he's a ballerina.
Damn.
His slap shot is feared by goalies.
He tried it.
This one literally broke the mask of the Rangers' Henrik Lundqvist.
And it hit him right between the eyes.
Z's shot is officially the fastest ever, measured at the NHL's All-Star Skills Competition at nearly 109 miles an hour.
Wow.
Earning the hockey equivalent of a standing ovation from the best players in the game.
That's respect right there, guys.
He's widely considered the best defenseman in the NHL, which makes it hard to imagine that as a kid, Zdeno Chara was told he really ought to find a different sport.
How many times did someone tell you, you just can't play hockey, you're just too tall?
Too many times, but more they were telling me that, more I wanted to prove them wrong.
You fought for it.
I fought really hard for it, yes.
Z got his fight from his father, who had been an Olympic Greco-Roman wrestler for the country then known as Czechoslovakia.
I was reading about some of the things he did to help you train.
Yeah.
Tell me some of your favorite things.
Oh, I would tell you my not favorite things.
Okay. Those are the ones you remember, right?
Oh my God. We had a pull-up bar set in our garden on a tree. And so every time I walked by, I had to do, a certain amount of pull-ups.
He was pushing you.
He was pushing.
But his youth hockey coaches kept cutting him.
You were actually kicked off a youth team when you were 16 years old. Was that true?
Yeah, it is true. Not once, but 3 times.
3 times?
3 different years, yeah.
He was relegated to the B team, towering over his team.
They put him on the B team? Jesus Christ.
And using hand-me-down equipment.
I always loved hockey. I just loved the speed of the game and physicality. And so I knew that hockey was the sport.
He eventually became good enough to be noticed by NHL scouts. The New York Islanders drafted him, the 56th overall pick of the 1996 draft.
He was a project. That's how you look at him.
Z's current boss, Boston Bruins general manager Peter Chiarelli, has followed his career from the beginning.
He was Bambi. He was gawky. His limbs are all over the place. You could see, they could see the try in him, but you could also see, wow, I don't know if this guy's gonna come around, but you could see the try.
When you talk about the try in him, explain what you mean.
The real elite athletes, their determination, they're wanting to win every battle, they compete at every level, at every minute, every second, and there's not very many that have that, and he's one of them.
Z's try is evident in his
Bro's
physique and his
ripped!
fitness. At the beginning of training camp each year,
the Bruins put all their players through a battery of tests. It's no surprise the Bruins
Kevin Durant, can you do that? My fault. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you out like that, KD. My fault.
all their players through a battery of tests. It's no surprise that Z wins the vertical jump.
Come on, Z, what do you say, Ken?
But just watch him attack the Bruins version of that backyard pull-up bar.
He needs to be the best at it, and it pushes other players.
50.
I know he didn't say 50, right?
20.
He's got that much more to pull up, you know, one with the length of his arms and his weight, and he tops the group every year, and it's an impressive feat to watch.
30. Come on, Z. Come on, Z. She said. Come on, boy. Come on now. That's it. Come on.
You crushed it again this year, right?
Oh, yeah, I tried.
Come on, Z. Go.
How many pull-ups did you have this year?
35,
And then
I was
next
gonna say.
guy next year was what, 31?
33, I think.
33. If he had done 36, would you have done 37?
I would try.
He's been trying from the very beginning. He was just 19 when the Islanders sent him straight from the '96 draft to the Prince George Cougars, a junior team in a remote Canadian timber town. He spent the summer working out and taking.
So is that like their G League team? Y'all know like how the Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers got the South Bay Lakers? Is that their G League team? Let me know in the comments.
Odd jobs.
What were the jobs you had over the summer?
I was one job was the car dealership. I was working car wash.
You were working at the car wash?
They really loved me. I was the best at washing the roofs.
Once on the ice in Prince George, Z was appreciated for more than just his height.
That's like a league where people really like to kind of get scrappy and fight, and here you are thrown into that. What was that like as a young hockey player?
Yeah, I was ready for that. I did a lot of training, and obviously my dad prepared me for that. He said, if you ever want to play in North America, you have to be ready to drop your gloves and stand up for yourself and defend yourself and your teammates. Like right away, I think my first, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 games, I got scrapped in every game, and I had to kind of earn my reputation.
He earned it all right, and fights like this one against a player named Tony Hagen of the
Bro, he knocked him out. He knocked him out, woke him up again. Knockout. He woke up. He woke up after that. That was his smelling salt right there. Another knockout punch was his smelling salt to wake up, man.
Did people assume just based on size of you that you were going to be a guy out there fighting all the time?
I guess, but I knew that that's not what I wanted to do, or the only thing I wanted to do. I didn't want to be just doing the fighting.
And he hasn't.
Chara moves in deep, and he scores!
But over his 17-year NHL career, first with the Islanders,
Mm.
then the Ottawa Senators, and for the last 9 years as captain of the Bruins, some of his scraps have become legendary.
It's McCabe and Chara!
When he was playing for Ottawa, he was fighting Brian McCabe. You know, Brian McCabe's a big guy. He's like maybe 6'3", 220, and Z was like ragdolling him. He had him like it was like he had a doll in his hand. He was throwing him around. It was like
That's not your. He pulling on him like it's his child.
he had him like it was like he had a doll in his hand. He was throwing him around. It was like he doesn't try and hurt people. It's just that he's big and strong and powerful.
There's not a lot of players of his caliber that are tough like him.
That shit's crazy.
Over a 22-year NHL career, Mark Recchi played both with Z and against him. He still remembers their one and only fight.
We got in a little bit of a tiff, and I tried to punch him, and I wasn't even close. And he had his glove on, and he popped me, and I saw stars, and I went, oh, just kind of turned around and went the other way. And I was like, that's enough of that one.
So, Pacioretty is down face first.
A powerful hit Chara delivered on the Montreal Canadiens' Max Pacioretty in 2011 may be his most infamous. Pacioretty's head hit a stanchion near the team's
Oh,
bench,
yeah.
and he suffered a severe concussion and a broken vertebra in his neck.
A scary-looking sight on the ice at the Bell Center.
While Pacioretty recovered, Z's reputation took a hit.
People might have thought
That looked like the crash dummies, man. When they hit the wall, that shit
he
crazy.
purposely drove him into that stanchion. I've seen that play 1,000 times, and sometimes players hit the stanchion, sometimes they don't. It just turned out that he did at that time, and I know Z felt bad about it, but that's the way he plays.
The way he plays earned him that scariest man in hockey reputation.
That's terrible.
That's hard to reconcile with the man we met. Off the ice, he's polite and reserved.
Okay, watch out the car.
He speaks 7 languages and has a degree in finance.
Does it bother you that people call you the scariest man?
Maybe a little bit, because they have to understand it's a job you have to do on the ice. It's not like I'm trying to be scariest or I'm trying to be mean or kind of get on the cover.
I think scary is a little unfair because he is one of the cleanest players, I think, out there for how he plays and his size.
So why do people find him scary? If he's a clean player, how can he be a scary player?
Because he hits hard, he squeezes, he's strong as an ox.
Playing against him, what was that like?
Miserable.
Why?
Miserable. You know, he would whack you, he would cross-check you, whatever it took to win a game. And, you know, you throw in his corner, you knew you were going to get crunched. And when your guy plays heavy like that, I mean, there's guys that are good hitters, but he leans on you throughout 60 minutes of a game. And that's just wears you out.
I don't think people truly recognize or realize how impactful he is as a defender. Reach-wise and skating-wise, I think he basically takes care of half of the defensive zone.
Half.
Like on the worst of days.
Z skates with a stick that's longer than anyone else's. The NHL had to issue a waiver to allow it. That gives him great reach. But in close quarters, it's hard to handle.
Is it easier being that big or is it harder being that big?
I think it's harder because a lot of the players are, 5, 6, 7 inches, a foot shorter than him. And if we get low, it can be real hard for him.
It took Chara establishing himself in the NHL before hockey coaches back in Slovakia finally took notice.
The head coach of the national team called me and he said that we would like you to play for national team. So I made the NHL before I made the national team. That was the very first time I actually played for my country. And
these are the same people who wanted you on the B squad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since then, Z has played on 3 Slovak Olympic teams and carried the national flag in Sochi. He won the Norris Trophy as the NHL's best defenseman in 2009, and he didn't win the hardest slap shot competition just once, but 5 times in a row.
God.
The Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup.
In 2011, Chara powered the Bruins to the Stanley Cup, their first in nearly 40 years. By then, he and Mark Recchi were teammates.
It was awesome to see him get that, being the captain.
He's holding the cup and then he hands it to you. Tell me about that moment.
To get it from him, to see his face, was unbelievable.
Unbelievable for Boston fans as well, who hadn't seen a cup since Bobby Orr and the team known as the Big Bad Bruins.
Why do you think he was able to fit in so well here into what Boston hockey fans expect?
Well, ultimately, the Boston hockey fans are knowledgeable and they see how truly good a player he is. It's his willingness to compete, and they see that, and they really appreciate that.
Boston fans also appreciate that Z doesn't act like a $7 million a year sports superstar.
Hey, Jim.
When the weather's warm, he rides his bike to work at TD Garden.
Don't be scared.
That's what's up.
Thank you. Anytime.
Then rides the freight elevator with everyone else.
It doesn't smell bad at all.
It smells awesome.
At Mike's Pastry, a North End institution, he's welcomed behind the counter.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. And in the back room.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Where the walls are papered not just with his hockey shots, but snapshots of his family, wife Tatiana, and daughter Elise celebrating birthdays.
He's a good customer.
Elise?
No, this one.
No, he's not that good. He doesn't eat nothing.
Give me the mini one. Yeah.
With us, he did agree to eat one mini cannoli.
Cheers.
Cheers. I got the big one. What's wrong with it?
But only to be polite.
Oh.
You don't really drink, right?
No.
You don't really have caffeine, right?
No.
You don't really eat dessert?
Sometimes.
Sounds like you're a monk.
No.
His discipline is impressive. In the off-season, he practically lives in the gym, working out 2 or 3 times a day, 7 days a week. During the season, he'll play a full game, then work out for another 2 hours. All that work has made him very durable. Until a knee injury sidelined him for several weeks this fall, Z had never missed more than a few games in any season.
You have 4 years to go in your contract. You'll be 41. Is that going to be it for you at the end of that contract?
I hope not.
Not a lot of guys play well into their 40s, though.
Not a lot, but there have been some guys who were very, very effective in their 40s, and I feel that you always have something to prove.
He's one of the proudest athletes I've ever met, and I think he loves proving people wrong, which he doesn't have to do anymore, but I think that's still in his makeup.
Mm-hmm. And he enjoys being the underdog. Do you feel like?
Yeah, which is a little odd. He's a 6'9", 260, 4% body fat athlete who's an underdog. So, yeah, let's just let him have that. He's not an underdog, but let's let him have that.
Let him think he is, right?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. They ended that that's a horrible transition. But man, that was a good video, man. It was I was saying, good listening, learning, cool learning about him off the ice, his upbringing, how he got. That was a W video. Shout out Breeze, man. Shout out to who is this? Who posted this? Weekend at Bergie's in 60 minutes, bro. That's a W video, man. But YouTube, I'm out of here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment other videos I should watch next. And I'm gonna catch you on the flip.